Why do people really fall in love with you? People don't fall in love with you. They fall in love with what you trigger inside them. It's not about your looks. It's not your personality. It's something deeper, hidden, and unconscious. Something Carl Jung understood profoundly. Right now, someone might be obsessed with you, and they don't even know why. Why do some people feel an instant, magnetic pull toward you? Why do others lose interest just as fast? Psychologist Carl Jung discovered the secret behind love. He called it projection, and it controls who we fall in love with. When someone looks at you, they don't see you. They see a missing piece of themselves. What Carl Jung described as projection love. A quiet person might be drawn to someone bold. A logical person might crave spontaneity. Love isn't random. It's the unconscious mind searching for something it lost. And that's why people fall in love with you only for two reasons. Carl Jung rings true. It's about what you reflect back to them. This is why love feels like fate. But fate has a dark side. The same force of projection that pulls people toward you can also make love crash and burn. The passion, the obsession, the deep connection. It all starts from one powerful illusion: projection love. By the end of this video, you'll see love and fall in love in a way you never have before, through the lens of Carl Jung's groundbreaking insights. Let's begin. Love feels magical. But what if it's not magic at all? What if attraction follows a hidden pattern, one that's been shaping your love life all along? Psychologist Carl Jung believed love isn't random. It's driven by your unconscious mind. Right now, your brain is silently deciding who excites you, who bores you, and who you ignore. And you have no idea it's happening. Think about your past crushes. They weren't just people. You felt something special about them. That special feeling, it wasn't about them. It was about you. Your unconscious recognized something familiar, something it had been looking for. It could be a missing piece of yourself, a lost part of your past, or a deep emotional need. But here's the twist. What draws people to you works the same way. When someone falls in love with you, they aren't really seeing you. They're seeing a reflection of themselves, a concept Carl Jung called projection. Something in you activates their unconscious desires. Something makes them feel whole. And that's why love feels inevitable. Not because it's destiny, but because your mind is pulling the strings without you realizing it. But if love is just a reflection, how do we know if it's real? That's where projection love comes in, and it changes everything. Let's go deeper. Have you ever fallen in love so deeply that it felt like fate? Like they were meant for you, as if the universe brought you together? What if I told you that feeling might be a lie? Not a deliberate lie, but a trick played by your own mind. Carl Jung called it projection, and it's shaping your love life right now. Here's how it works. Inside your mind, you carry hidden images of love. These images come from your childhood, your past relationships, even the movies you watch. They define who you're attracted to, who excites you, who you ignore. And the moment you meet someone who matches that image, boom, it feels like love at first sight. But here's the truth. It's not about them. It's about you. Your mind isn't seeing them for who they really are. It's seeing a reflection of something deep inside you, what Carl Jung termed projection love. Maybe they remind you of a parent, a lost love, or a part of yourself you've ignored. For example, let's say you're quiet and reserved. One day, you meet someone bold, passionate, full of life, and you're instantly drawn to them. Why? Because deep down, that boldness exists in you too, but you've buried it, you've ignored it, and now, your mind sees it in someone else and calls it love. But here's the danger. If you're only in love with a projection, what happens when reality sets in? When they do something that doesn't fit the image you created? The illusion shatters. What once felt like fate now feels like disappointment. This is why love can start as magic and end in confusion. But what if you could see past the illusion? What if you could understand why people fall in love with you only for two reasons? Let's go even deeper. Have you ever met someone who seemed completely different from you, yet they couldn't stay away? Maybe you're calm and they're impulsive. Maybe you're logical and they're emotional. Maybe you're structured and they're wild and free. At first, it feels exciting, like two puzzle pieces fitting together. But why does this happen? Carl Jung believed that people fall in love with what they're missing. They see something in you that they don't have, or don't allow themselves to express. Imagine someone who's always been shy, afraid to speak up. Then they meet someone fearless, outspoken, completely unafraid. That energy feels magnetic, almost irresistible, not because of the person, but because of what they represent. The quiet person sees their own hidden potential in the confident one through projection. Their mind says, "That's who I could be," and suddenly it's love. But here's the problem. Attraction based on lack can turn into dependence. The shy person leans on the confident one to feel complete. The logical one relies on the emotional one to feel alive. Instead of growing, they use the relationship as a crutch. At first, it works, but over time, it can turn into resentment, because no one can be your missing piece forever. That's why so many relationships start strong, then slowly fall apart. One person feels trapped, expected to be something all the time. The other feels abandoned, like something is missing again. The cycle repeats, unless you become aware of it. So, next time someone is drawn to you, ask yourself, what part of them am I awakening? And if you feel deeply drawn to someone, ask, what part of me am I seeing in them? Because when you stop looking for someone to complete you, that's when real love begins. But there's something even deeper than this. Let's talk about the anima and animus. Have you ever met someone and felt an instant, overwhelming connection? Like you've known them forever? Even if you just met? Like they complete something inside you? That feeling is not an accident. Carl Jung believed that deep in your unconscious mind, there's a blueprint for love, a hidden image of the perfect partner, shaped before you even knew what love was. For men, this image is called the anima, the feminine side of the psyche. For women, it's the animus, the masculine side of the psyche. And here's the wild part. This image isn't just based on personal experience. It comes from generations of stories, myths, and cultural ideals. Think about classic love stories. The mysterious, enchanting woman who awakens a man's passion. The strong, protective hero who sweeps a woman off her feet. These aren't just fairy tales. They are reflections of something deeply wired into human mind. What Carl Jung explored as projection love. And when you meet someone who matches this inner image, boom, it feels inevitable, like destiny. But here's the problem. No real person can perfectly match this unconscious image. At first, they seem to. You see them through the lens of the anima or animus. But over time, cracks appear. They reveal sides that don't match the fantasy. And suddenly, the magic fades. The person who once felt like your soulmate now feels like a stranger. This is why so many passionate love affairs burn bright, then crash and burn. Not because the love wasn't real, but because it was never about the real person. It was about a projection of your own unconscious desires. So, how do you break free from this illusion? By recognizing the anima and animus inside yourself. Instead of looking for someone to fulfill your inner image, you integrate it. You become whole within yourself. Because when you stop searching for the perfect partner, that's when you're ready for real, lasting love. Have you ever met someone who was instantly drawn to you, but you didn't know why? They looked at you like you were special, like they'd been waiting for you forever. Maybe they even said, "I feel like I've known you my whole life." That feeling isn't random. It happens because in their mind, you match an unconscious image they've carried for years, what Carl Jung identified as projection. This image is shaped by childhood, past experiences, and hidden desires. And the moment they see you, something inside them clicks. It's like you've stepped out of their dreams and into real life. But here's the problem. They're not in love with you. They're in love with the image, the projection love. At first, this makes the attraction powerful, almost intoxicating. But over time, reality starts to show. You act in a way that doesn't fit the fantasy. And suddenly, the magic fades. Because you're no longer the symbol they fell in love with. You're just a real person. This is why people fall in love with you only for two reasons. Carl Jung, what you lack and what you awaken. One day, you're their perfect soulmate. The next, they're pulling away, saying, "You've changed." but you didn't change. Their illusion shattered. So what can you do? You can't control how people see you, but you can be aware of why they're drawn to you. Ask yourself, am I being loved for who I am or for what I represent? Because the only love that lasts is the love that sees you, not an image, not a fantasy, the real you. Some love stories start like a wildfire, fast, intense, impossible to ignore, but then, just as suddenly, it dies out. Why? Because many relationships aren't built on reality. They're built on projection. At the start, everything feels perfect. Your partner seems like the person you've always dreamed of. But what's really happening? You're not seeing them. You're seeing an image from your own unconscious mind. They fit the role your psyche has been searching for. The protector, the free spirit, the perfect soulmate. And for a while, it works. But then, cracks start to appear. They don't always say the right things. They have flaws you never noticed before. They stop being the fantasy and become real. And that's when the illusion breaks. You might think they've changed, but they haven't. You just finally see them for who they are. This is why so many love stories go from passion to confusion. One person wakes up from the fantasy. The other feels rejected for something they never were. No human can live up to an archetype forever. A relationship built on projection always collapses under reality. So how do you make love last? By seeing your partner as they really are, not as a perfect soulmate, not as a missing piece, but as a whole person, just like you, because when love is real, it doesn't fade, it evolves. But how do you stop falling into the same patterns? Let's talk about that next. What if heartbreak was a mistake? What if every person you've loved was meant to teach you something? Jung didn't see projection as a failure. He saw it as a mirror, a way for your unconscious mind to show you what's hidden inside yourself. Think about the people you've fallen in love with, the ones who lit you up, the ones who broke your heart. They weren't random. They were reflections of something inside you. Every person you fall for does three things. They show you your hidden potential. They reveal your deepest fears. And they teach you lessons you need to learn. That confident, adventurous person you loved, maybe they reflected a side of you that's been suppressed. That emotionally unavailable partner you kept chasing, maybe they expose an old wound you haven't healed. Attraction isn't just about connection. It's about growth. And when you understand that, everything changes. You stop seeing love as just fate or chemistry. You start seeing it as a journey of self-discovery. So, how do you break free from illusions? How do you stop repeating the same painful patterns? It all starts with awareness. And that's what we'll explore next. Have you ever felt like you're dating the same person over and over, just in different bodies? Like no matter how hard you try, you always attract the same type of partner? This isn't a coincidence. Your unconscious mind is repeating a pattern because it's trying to teach you something. Jung believed that until you become aware of your patterns, they will keep controlling you. You don't choose who you're drawn to. Your psyche does. And it picks people based on what you need to learn. If you always attract emotionally unavailable partners, your psyche is saying, look at this wound, heal it. If you keep falling for people who mirror your insecurities, your psyche is saying, face this part of yourself, accept it. The pattern will never stop until you break it. So how do you do that? First, recognize your projections. Ask yourself, am I seeing this person for who they are or for who I want them to be? Second, understand your patterns. Look at your past relationships. What themes keep repeating? What emotions come up again and again? Your love life is trying to tell you something. Listen. And finally, stop looking for someone to complete you. You are not half of a whole. You are already complete. Love should be a reflection of your growth, not a way to fill a void. When you become whole within yourself, you stop chasing illusions. You stop repeating painful cycles. And you start experiencing real love. Love is not just about the other person. It's a mirror reflecting you. Every attraction, every heartbreak, every deep connection. It's all part of your journey, not to find the perfect person, but to awaken the hidden parts of yourself. So next time you fall in love, don't just ask, is this the one? Ask, What part of my soul is waking up right now? What lesson is my unconscious trying to teach me? Because the deepest love is the love that makes you see yourself.